Thank you for coming. Great to see all of you here. A lot of important people to make this happen, but just a quick summary. The Fox West Theater was built by the Rapp brothers, prominent architects in our community, in 1909. I could go on and on about the history of this building, but it precipitated modern day fire codes with some of the fire suppression that they used to design the building. But this really was the hub of the community for many, many years, till the mid-50s, when it was turned into a movie house by the Zawaya sisters. But prior to that, we are trying to work on getting archives of the famous acts who came through here. I think we're very certain that the John Philip Sousa Band played here. There's rumors that Houdini performed here. But I believe wholeheartedly that being right between Chicago and LA on a major rail line, we probably got the best of the best performers to come through our little town. So it really is something to celebrate. From there, it became a movie house, and that became an important thing for our theater. I'm blown away by the amount of people I've met who had their first kiss in one of the balconies here at Fox West Theater. So, go you. It's awesome. But obviously a very important thing for our community. A lot of people here in our community have fond memories of this facility, and we are so excited to bring it back to life. Just a couple of important notes. We're working on our restoration project right now. We're restoring it to its original 1909 facade. So you'll notice the columns here. Those got removed when it was turned into a movie house. The marquee was installed. We have obviously removed the marquee. That will not go back on the buildings, but we're looking at other places that we can deploy that and remain that artifact here in Trinidad. The columns were custom created to replicate the original columns that were designed for the theater. And so this should look like a page out of history. It already does, but even more so once we get it done. Where are we at to this point? Well, we've invested about $7.5 to $8 million in the building through a partnership between multiple private donors. You can see them on the website, but I can't acknowledge them all, but definitely take a look. We have angels that are really helping us with this. And then private investment, and then also city investment. The city bought the building in 2018 and saw the vision to restore it. At that time, we partnered with Miss Dana Crawford, who is here with us, in Urban Neighborhoods in her company, and yes, please. She'll be saying a few words, but we really appreciate her support and her vision to say, this is something worth preserving and something that I want to be part of. So we're really happy for all the partnerships that we've been able to accomplish. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the two outstanding businesses that we've created here on our main street, starting with the Trinidad Tea Company, which opened in November 2022, and then our new clothing store next door. And if you've not been in there, it is worth it. And it is so cool. And they are doing pricing that matches our demographics, but there's a lot of different things that you can't find anywhere else in Trinidad or really the region. So please check them out. And more importantly, have a glass of tea, have one of Krista's lemonades that have aloe and all kinds of fancy things, many of the ingredients she grows herself. So we're so lucky to have these businesses here, and we want to celebrate them tonight as well. So we are still looking for money. We're working to try to raise as much as we can so we can restore the theater, the historic ballroom below the theater. There are 2 substages to this theater. There are 2 balconies. I've been to a lot of Broadway shows in New York City, and I can absolutely unequivocally say this is one of the most beautiful theaters that I've ever seen. I can see on the windows we've put some banners that show what the inside currently looks like. Take a look at those while you're here. But all I can say is it's about damn time that we landmark this building and really celebrate its prominence here in Trinidad and the region. So with that, last group I want to thank is our wonderful Fox West Theater Alliance. This is a group of volunteers that are really the overseer of the decision-making process for this theater, and we couldn't do it without them. We have a group of dedicated individuals that work really hard to help us and assist us. We're city, we're nuts and bolts. We pave roads, we provide public safety, but we need people who have the vision to really help us with such an outstanding project. So I want to thank them as well. So we have a couple of speakers. I will turn it over to Mayor Griego, who has been a champion for this project, and she was part of the city council that saw the vision and brought this to light. The chair of our Historic Preservation Commission will be speaking, Mr. Carlos Madrid. And then last but certainly not least, was Dana Crawford, who is here with us today. So thank you all for being here. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mayor Griego.
How are you? Thank you, Steve. Thank you for that introduction. And I want to tell you, even though I have a very small part in this project, I couldn't be prouder of what this project means to Trinidad. And for now and into the future, Steve, it's wonderful to have a young mind. You can remember those dates and what above. But I'm going to talk in generalities. And can you hear me? I'm going to talk in generalities about my personal memories of the Fox West Theater, because I might be able to tell you some things that you don't know about this fine building. So I'm a baby boomer. I was born post World War II, but my mother was here during World War II, and this theater did news clips of the war, and that's the only way people in Trinidad could get the news from overseas, how the troops were doing. So she and my father was in the military, so that was a very important part that this theater played. Okay, but when we were growing up, I'm somewhat old. I'm not going to tell you for all.
Somewhat.
I graduated at 7 years. Do the math. But anyway, in those days, there was no internet, there was no iPhones, there were no iPads, there was no streaming. This theater, there was a kind of everybody so located, entertaining with internet. And I don't know if some of you know, but I grew up in Trinidad, so my first memories were coming to this theater. My parents would bring me to watch Mickey Mouse films. But later, when I was in elementary school, they had an event called the Milk Fund Show. And I don't know if any of you remember that. But the Milk Fund Show, in order to get out of school one day, you had to pay to come and watch a movie, and the money they raised, I can't remember what service club it was, but they bought milk and distributed it among the public schools. Then when I was in high school, we had a thing called calendar. So during homecomings, the night before the big day, we had bonfire over at the football field. We did what they call a snake dance down Anima Street, and you came into the Fox Theater, and it's called Pal Night because you were too good. So mostly people brought their dates, but it's little nuances like that bring back memories to me about this theater. Jimmy Dean premiered this movie here. That was a big thing for Trinidad in the day. It's such a versatile thing. It's a versatile building, and I am so proud that we were able to save her with the house, dinners, and neighborhoods. And kudos to the communities, because like Steve said, city doesn't have the manpower to do it. So I so appreciate the law. But I want to thank all of you. I kept thinking about this, and I am ad-libbing on nothing prepared. That's it. I kept thinking about this building and how beautiful, and I call her she, because she's very good. But it exemplifies the spirit that there is. Look what this building has gone through over the years from the first being built. And she has survived. She survived years of non-maintenance, and she's still here. And I think we can say the same. We've gone through a lot of ups and downs to the dead. We have been tested, but we're still standing. Kudos to this beautiful lady. The Fox West pioneer. Kudos to this beautiful and lasted in that. Thank you so very much.
Preservation Commission, they're doing such good work in our community and making sure our old buildings are getting the recognition they deserve. So Carlos, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, Mayor. Yeah, this building actually means a lot to me. I'm not from Trinidad, but I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I lived in Denver for about 20 years. So I used to pass through here and see this big building all the time. I used to just pass by all the time, never stop through Trinidad. I'd stop up at exit 11, of course, as everybody does, get their gas, and then move on. And that's what I used to do. But I used to see this building and moved on. And then probably like 4 years ago, a member of this community showed me this theater. He took me aside. His name was Wally Wallace. And a lot of people in this community, he actually played music for them on his guitar. I didn't get that, and I'm really mad that I didn't get that concert. So hopefully he'll come back and give me that concert. But yeah, so I went in, and when I first saw that theater and I went inside it, I was like, wow, it's very pink in here. Holy. And it was like, but at the same time, it was amazing because you see it from the outside, but it's until you get inside of it so you see the wonder of it. Because the outside, it's a big brick building. That's all it is, big brick building. Now it doesn't have the marquee, which doesn't like really look like theater. But when you get inside of it, oh, it's a theater. It's definitely a theater. So, me being as a member of the board and being the chairperson, this was very important to get this locally that worked. Of course, it's been recognized on the national level because it is within the historic district, and it is a contributing building to that historic district. So it is good on that level, but we needed to do it on a local level. We need to make sure that we as a community respect this building, as we all do. So that's all I really can say about this building. It's beautiful. Oh, the other thing is I was given the opportunity, because I do own a business, that the city did hire me to create a virtual tour of the business, or of the building. So you can actually go to Google Maps, and right now, if you want to on your phone, and you go to the street view, and you can view the inside of this building right now. So if you really want to do that, please do that. You can see the inside of it. You can tour the whole inside of the building. I went all the way up to the top, everything that's inside of it. The only thing I didn't do, because it was really a mess, was the backstage. So, but eventually we'll all be able to see it. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, I'm going to ask that you all come in a little bit so we can hear Miss Dana Crawford. I apologize that we don't have a microphone and speakers, but we thought this would be a nice intimate gathering. But before I introduce Dana, I just want to also give a special thanks to Miss Tara Booth, who's standing here in the back. She is a city staff member, works in our development department, but was a rock star in making this happen. And then certainly Krista as well. She put in a lot of effort to make this event happen for us. So I wanted to thank them as well. So I'll turn it over to Dana.
Well, I have a quite huge voice, and that's a good thing, because I didn't really realize that I was Christmas today. You know, I'm crazy in love with this town.
Yeah.
And I'm especially crazy in love with the creative center of it and the leadership of it. Because, you know, when it does open, we've got to be sure that every person who lives, you know, within shouting distance knows what's gone into it, and that it's going to be really an important part of all of our lives. So that's the story, Morning Glory. And, you know, if you stumble into, people say, you know, Dana, when we see you coming, we run because we know you're going to ask us for money. and yeah, so, you know, thank you for being so gracious. And I probably not going to cheat.
Don't ever change, Dana. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to ask Carlos to help me remove this if we can officially dedicate and landmark the Fox Theater locally by our own Trinidad Historic Preservation Commission.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Magnuson. I am serving right now as a volunteer on the Fox West Theater Alliance. I am in the position of co-chair, and I have been on the board for 3 years now. We're a board of volunteers that are working to raise money and awareness about the restoration project at the Fox.
Hi, I'm Steve Ruger, City Manager of Trinidad. I've been here for about a year and a half, a little bit more, and when I started, it was just at the beginning of when we started the Fox Theater Restoration Project. And as city manager, I've gotten to assist and help lead the effort to restore this gem of a theater that we have in our community. And we're all very excited for the potential that this can have to be a community hub like it once was when it was built in 1909. And it is the most outstanding building that I think we have in Trinidad. And we're looking forward to where we can take it to the next level, to take a historic building and contemporize it into something that's going to be great for generations now and generations to come. So the Fox Theater was built in 1909 by the Rapp brothers, prominent architects out of Chicago, Illinois. They're actually two sets of brothers. So there was a Rapp brothers in Chicago and a Rapp brothers in Trinidad. The Rapp brothers in Trinidad are famous for new Southwest architecture. So they've designed buildings throughout the region, including Santa Fe, Walsenburg, Raton, but certainly here in Trinidad, they were based out of this community. What's so special about the Fox Theater is not only is it a gem visually and architecturally, but it precipitated modern day building codes. So some of modern fire suppression codes were born out of activities that the Rapp brothers did in this building. To see a building in Trinidad from 1909 that has fire escapes is a really big deal. If you go backstage, you'll see a robust network of pipes for fire mitigation. There is a hand-painted, beautiful asbestos fire curtain that we just discovered in the last couple of years as part of our renovation. So we had the curtain encapsulated to protect everyone from any fallout from the asbestos, but it was designed by a company in Kansas City and hand painted. So building was built in 1909. It hosted vaudeville acts, probably some of the most prominent performers of the day. We know for sure that the John Philip Sousa Band came through here. There's rumors that Houdini performed here. And from there, it became a movie theater when the Sawaya sisters bought it in the 50s and converted it to be a movie house. It was an outstanding theater. Think about being in a Broadway theater where you're watching modern day movies. And so it had all the big names. In fact, I have a film reel in my office that's a trailer for Fried Green Tomatoes. So you can imagine just the history there. Locally, I hear all the time where people had their first kiss in one of the balconies at the Fox Theater. It really is something that not only is a gem architecturally and an important piece of history, but it also is something that's very sentimental to the community. So it deserves all the recognition it can get. So from there, it was a movie house until about 2013 when it closed. And at that point, it sat vacant for a while. So in 2018, the City of Trinidad had the foresight to actually purchase the building. We partnered with Urban Neighborhoods out of Denver to help us with fundraising and restoration. And since 2018, we've invested about $7.5 million, a combination of private and public funding, to start the restoration process. So where we're at this point is we have restored the outside structurally. We've restored the original facade on the front. We still have a little work to go there, but we've also added 2 retail stores, including the Trinidad Tea Company and a new clothing store that just opened last month. So we're activating it. It's a prominent piece of Main Street history, and it's being put to use for our community and visitors alike. I want to point out that where I'm sitting right now is in the Trinidad Tea Company. That was the first retail store to open in November of 2022. And it is restored back to its original grandeur when the theater opened in 1909. It's been a multitude of different things, dry goods. Next door where the clothing shop is, that was a saloon. And so part of the vision of the theater was to also have these retail spaces attached to them. So to sit here and see this space fully restored to its original glory is such a powerful thing. I think about the history of this building and the amount of people that came through here, the footprints I'm walking in when I'm sitting here and walking through this beautiful space. And it really is mind-blowing to think of, over 100 years of history that I get the pleasure in modern day to be a part of.
The Fox has been such a big part of the fabric of Trinidad since it was originally built and opened. And although it's changed purposes and uses for many years, it holds the memories of the town. And people were married there. People had their first kiss there, as the mayor pointed out today. People remember seeing their first movie at the Fox Theater. And it's part of the past, but I think that it can be a huge, significant part of the future for Trinidad and the region as a whole. I think that it's such a jewel. It's something that's so special that there's nothing like it within 100 miles, and that the entire southern Colorado, northern New Mexico region should be proud to have a beautiful theater that can host incredible events and can bring people from all over the country and all over the world. There's not much like it, and it's such a beautiful place. It means so much, and it has so much potential for the future uses. And I like to think about how cool it is that it's got different size rooms and different things. So when the ballroom downstairs is finished, that's going to be the best place to have a banquet in town and to have a dance or to have a wedding. And then the theater itself, we're hoping that we have the Colorado Symphony Orchestra here for a month at a time, or that we have a play that's traveling through. We have so many potential uses for this space that we can give people a world-class, one-of-a-kind experience inside a really one-of-a-kind place.
What I find personally important to this building is the expanse, the enormity of the theater. You see the building from the outside, and it is a fairly large building, but it isn't until you get inside of it and you see the actual performing space and how big it is. I mean, it's a 3-tier building. There's the first level, there's a mezzanine, and there's an upper mezzanine. You can definitely tell that when it was designed that the upper mezzanine was for, cheaper, lower paid seats, because it's benches versus the other levels, which do have individual seats. But that's another little charm about the building, is that it was made that way, which we will look down upon on this day and be like, oh, everybody should have an equal seat, but that wasn't the state of that time, and they still gave the opportunity for people with lower incomes to come in and view what was going on and what they were showing in the theater. As Mayor Grego said, see those updates about the war and their families and what was going on across the ocean. I mean, this theater definitely served a huge importance to this community. And, today was another instance of showing how it was important to this community.
So today was a really special day, and we all gathered to have the Historic Preservation Society recognize the Fox and to hang a really pretty plaque the city manager, the mayor, and Dana Crawford, and the chair of the Historic Preservation Society all were able to speak. We had a great group of people come and support, and it was a nice way to show the community, from my perspective, a nice way to show the community that progress is being made, that we are being recognized, and that the city and all of our boards really do value the theater and the project as it's advancing.
It should have been landmarked a long time ago, but our local Historic Preservation Commission identified it as something that was lacking in our inventory of landmarks. So recently, in the last couple of months, they went ahead and went through the process of landmarking it, adhering to our municipal codes and all the steps that it takes. It has to go to City Council thereafter. City Council unanimously voted to designate it as a local landmark. And today we had our landmarking ceremony. So if you come to the theater now, you will see a beautiful plaque on the outside of the building recognizing it as a local landmark. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg for how we preserve this theater and move forward to, again, restoring it back to being the hub of Trinidad and making it something that is just a gem of Southern Colorado.
Well, the process to locally landmark a building is fairly easy. I guess the biggest part is to get the historical data of said building. A lot of times you can petition History Colorado to get the records. They do have a lot of historical records for the city because there's been extensive surveys of the city and of the buildings that are located within the historic district. There's a large database of buildings in their historic inventories. So a lot of the building owners can go ahead and petition History Colorado for that data. Along with that, you bring that to the board, as well as any kind of supporting evidence as far as any stories that you have of the building. And it's a fairly easy process because a lot of the buildings that are located in this area do have a huge potential and a lot of stories that are located within them. So it's an easy process.
Landmarking the Fox West Theater is really important in opening up opportunities for grant money, recognition from different organizations, and to bring awareness to the community as a whole about how respected and valuable this project really is.
I'll also mention what our vision is for when we do get the theater completely restored. We certainly want to embrace live performances. I am a music guy, and live music is very important to me. My dream would be to petition the Colorado Symphony Orchestra to come do the inaugural concert in this gorgeous theater that, for all intents and purposes, is a world-class concert hall. But from there, we can host conferences, we can host local events, we can host anything. We could have major performers come in. Trinidad is on a rail line that goes from Chicago to Los Angeles, and that has existed for the last 150 years, and it still exists. So we are just right smack dab in the middle of two entertainment capitals, and we're looking for any opportunity once we get the theater restored to present events not just for our Trinidad residents who enjoy and love this theater, but for all of Colorado and the Southwest region.
Information about the project and all that we're working on can be found at our website, foxwesttheater.com. There's information on donating, or even on Google Maps, there's a great 3D tour of the whole theater. If you go to the street view, you can walk inside, you can turn around, you can look at the ceiling, you can see how incredible it is. It's hard to really grasp it until you're inside.
The city employed me. I run an independent business aside from the city, Tough Night Drone Works, where I do drone and professional photography. I've also been able to do 360 photo and 360 virtual tours. And that was the main reason why the city employed me for this project, was to show the inside of this building. The main reason to prevent anybody coming into the building during the rebuilding and rehabilitation process. They did have a number of people coming into the building at one time, trying to get tours, trying to look around. This building is still very dangerous just to the average person. There's still a lot of stuff in here that could fall down, hit somebody on the head, and you know, it's not 100% done, but we're getting there. We're eventually gonna get there. But this was a way to prevent people from coming into the building, but also to experience it, to see what it looks like in its current state, what they could do to help the rebuilding process, how they could donate to the rebuilding process. There's still a lot of work on the upper floors, like I said, where the cheap seats were. There's a lot of work that needs to be taken care of in the aspect of getting this theater in a workable order. That was the main reason why the city did employ me to get this done. But it's a very comprehensive and thorough tour of the whole theater. I did the whole theater itself as well as the ballroom in the basement. The basement, when I first went there, the floor looked like a wave pool, where it was just like it was kind of like this, but it was all of wood. But it was because of a big flood that came in. And as you see in the tour, it's just basic support beams that are on the floor that they pulled all that wood up. They're eventually gonna replace it. We're gonna have a nice ballroom down there. But please go check it out. You just have to go to Google Earth, turn on the virtual tour or the street view, and zoom into the theater, and it'll pop up little bubbles. All you have to do is select on one, and from there you can just like follow the little arrows and tour around the whole theater from the top to the basement. It's really cool. I was really proud of what it came out to. So if you do have a VR headset and you're able to experience stuff in VR, it is totally viewable in VR, and I would totally encourage everybody to see it, because it does take on a different aspect when you do view it in VR.
Trinidad is a community that has a lot of aging infrastructure and a lot of financial needs. So the Fox West Theater rehabilitation is unfortunately not something that our community is going to be able to fund anytime soon on its own. So we're always looking for opportunities to have donations, to have people who really love old theaters and love history come to the fore and help us with our fundraising efforts. So I would encourage anybody to look at, you can go to foxwesttheater.com and check out the space, get a good impression of it, and you can donate there as well. We're always looking for those people who really just love history, love Trinidad, love the support, and anything that you can do as someone watching this video would be so helpful to us in our efforts. We need to raise about $18 million, ballpark, to restore the actual theater part of it. I also want to mention that there is a ballroom, not just any ballroom, a grand ballroom in the basement of the Fox Theater. And that was a place for community gatherings, for people to come have major social events, to have parties, to have the whole town come out and get together for various reasons. That is part of our efforts as well.
There are lots of ways to contribute to the restoration project of the theater. We're working really hard to raise funding on small and large scales. So that looks like grant matching, that looks like private donations. We still have seats left in our seat campaign, where you'd get your name, or an individual or an organization, your name on a seat. There's different pricing tiers. All of that's available on the website. And donations are being taken through that. And it really, every little bit helps. And then, if you know any millionaires or billionaires that are just dying to have a little tax break, I would be honored if you sent them our way. But right now, we need to hope that the community has awareness that the project is moving forward, that they can have faith in it, that we're doing this with love and to honor this incredible theater, but really it comes down to the funding needs to keep coming in, and I assure you that there are people working really hard on finding the grants, on tax credits, on state funding, and now any historic like grant money. Hopefully, like we move further forward with that now too. But it's going to be a process. It's a huge project, but it is moving forward, and any little bit helps.